Even when you try to prevent them, problems will always still arise. We'll share some examples from his farm and the importance of patience and acknowledging the soil web and responding to them.
Most problems you're going to incur with cover crops are spurred by your own actions. Improper timing or neglecting the patterns of nature. So naturally, you're not going to go plant seed when you've got 2 weeks of no rain ahead of you. It might be a good time to terminate a cover crop because it's going to be hot and dry, and that matter will break down and you have a larger success rate at termination. But I haven't really had any hurdles or problems with it, just by being conscious of plant the seed at the proper time when there's adequate moisture in the soil, and just observing these very narrow windows sometimes. The best thing to do is go off intuition. If you say it out loud and it seems to make sense, well, that's probably because it does. So you act on those, and you know, lots of times on unirrigated soils, you really have to pay attention to those patterns in nature that are conducive for what you're doing. By doing that, you offset the risks of having problems. Now, when I first started, the soils were extremely depleted, and I thought I was doing things wrong because I didn't have quite the germination rate that I thought I should, or the cover crops weren't growing quite adequately. But now, 2 years in, after having 3 cover crops and going into a 4th cover crop season now, I'm really beginning to notice the changes in my soil. The amount of biomass has significantly improved, and the quality of the matter has improved too. You know, you can notice deficiencies in certain plants by physiological expressions that they exhibit on their leaves and such, and as I go forward and are continuously keeping my soils covered, that is becoming less and less, and they're getting better and better each time. Now granted, I'm not planting cash crops behind the cover crops on all the soil, because here on my place I'm just aimed at constantly keeping it covered and having a living soil web that is thriving. In the future plans, we've been typically doing these annual cover crops, but as the soil gets better and better, I'll start investing more money and doing more perennial type cover crops and expanding the development of the soil and biodiversity through some livestock grazing techniques and things as I learn more about them, and do it in small areas, make sure it works, and then exponentiate that over a little bit larger scale. But until that happens, you know, the best option is to just keep the soil covered.